Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Spicy Homemaker podcast. My name's Melissa, and you can find me on Ravelry as Spicy Homemaker and on my YouTube channel, the Spicy Homemaker channel. Welcome. Today is Saturday, October 31st, 2015. Happy Halloween. If you're like me, you've probably been digging a little bit into your kids' chocolate and helping them get rid of it, because that's what good moms do. But yeah, I'm really glad to be recording another episode so quickly. I really envisioned this being recorded every other week, and we may go into that format, but I have a lot of stash behind me and we need to get through that. So we definitely needed one this week. So if you're new to the podcast, thank you for watching. This is a knitting and creative living podcast. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm really looking forward to spending some more time with you. Let's get some administrative things out of the way. First, I do have a Ravelry group, the Spicy Homemaker group, or the Spicy Homemaker podcast group, and I do post my show notes there. The show notes for episode 3 is not up yet. I am working on getting those up, but 1 and 2 is, and so hopefully I'll have episodes 3 and 4 notes posted this week. I am really hoping to bring back my blog too. It's never went away, but I have not posted anything on it in a couple years. So I think a future plan will be to probably remake it a little bit and start putting the videos on that as well, and hopefully iTunes as well. But one thing at a time. There's only so many hours in the day. The other thing I want to let you know is that I know this video is going to be a lot better than the first 3, because I am working with a video editor. This is brand new to me. I'm familiar with computers and technology, but video recording and that kind of editing, it's so new. I need someone to show me how to do it. So I'm going to turn this over to Scott. Hi, Scott. And let him put this one together and then show me what he's done. So hopefully this one will be good. And the following ones after this will be good. I'm sure they will. So that is it for administrative. Now I want to move into just some thank yous. I have for some people who have reached out to me and said hello and they enjoyed watching the podcasts, and some things that I have. So let me just start at the top. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Lisa Marie, who dropped me a note in Ravelry and gave me some tips for charts, because I discussed that I'm going to be knitting a scarf or shawl early next year, and it'll be my first time really using charts. And some of the things she said she did was she highlights the she uses a highlighter to color code the entire chart in the legend, and then if there's any special stitches in the pattern, she makes a copy, or she writes on the sheet what those special stitches are for like quick reference. And that's valuable. I like that. Thank you, Lisa Marie, for giving me that. I really appreciate that. Also, I want to say hi to Colette for reaching out and saying she enjoyed watching it. I know I'm going to forget some people, and I'm so sorry. So many people have said hello and thank you. And if I miss you, it is for no other reason than I'm not always organized. I'm trying really good to write down these notes through the week, but sometimes I'll write them down and then I lose my notes. I do. But if I miss you, I am so sorry, and I want you to know that every single person who leaves a comment on my YouTube channel, every single person who leaves me a message on Ravelry, just makes my day. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if I've left anybody out, please forgive me. You have not went unnoticed by me. Just simply in my notes, because organization was not was not good for me this week, just not. But let me go on. Oh, Melissa, hello. She wrote me a message on Ravelry as well, and she has a podcast with two of her friends called the Naughty Knitwits podcast. It's three ladies sitting on a couch and they're knitting, and just a lot of fun. They are three women who are just laughter, and you just feel like you're having a knit night with someone, and they're great. One of the things I really like about podcasts who have more than one person on it is that there's times through the week that you don't have a lot when it's just you sometimes. And if you have a partner, sometimes that kind of, gives you guys more eye candy and some more stuff to work with. And I really like the interaction between people on podcasts, and they definitely have that in spades. It's a great podcast. If you've never watched it, you definitely should. Next person is Jilly of the Knitting Broomstick podcast. Hi, Jilly. She left me. I watched her podcast because we were following each other in Instagram, and I saw that she had a podcast, so I started watching it, and it's really good. I really, really like it. Very well spoken, no focusing issues like there were on mine. I just really enjoy it, and I cannot wait to watch more of hers. She has a great Ravelry group as well, and she left me just a really lovely message when I reached out to her. So I just want to say thank you to her. And then last but not least, actually two. I want to say thank you to Mina of the Knitting Expat. She left me a really nice comment too on YouTube. So thank you, Mina. That really meant a lot to me, and I appreciate the encouragement. But last but not least is Dag. Now, Dag started following me on Instagram, and so that's how I got to know her a little bit. She's Paper Dag on Instagram, but what really caught my eye is she's a indie dyer, and she posted a skein of her Fire and Ice, and it was amazing and beautiful. And she said, this is going to be going in my shop, or I think she said it was going to be going in her shop sometime soon. I don't remember, but I noticed she had an Etsy shop, so I immediately messaged her and said, let me know when you put that in your shop. I definitely want to buy it. Well, she did that this week, I think. And maybe she did it for me. I think she did. Anyways, like anything in Etsy in the knitting world, just fantastic, off the charts customer service. Wow. Because she had to deal with some of my craziness. So if you've watched previous episodes, I'm pretty good at making a fool of myself. Yeah, I'm really good at it. And whatever. It is what it is. But I sent her a message or replied to one of her Instagram photos and said I wanted to buy some of the yarn. She posted it. I bought some mini skeins of hers, and I said something about, wow, I can't believe I'm getting to buy some of your hand spun. She's a spinner as well. And she's, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry if I posted like that. It's not hand spun. I hope you know that. And I go back and I read the description, and it doesn't say that it's hand spun. It's still very lovely yarn, don't get me wrong. But I think it said handmade supply, and it was late at night, and I misread. Sometimes I read things quickly and just get everything wrong. And I did in this case, but she was so nice. We worked out something because I still wanted to buy yarn from her. And I got the Fire and Ice. Hopefully I can show that to you. I know I'll be able to show that to you on the next podcast. I'm really excited about it. Her Etsy shop is called Zia Wools. And I'll put that in the show notes. But in case you're not on Ravelry, Zia is Z-I-A Wools, W-O-O-L-Z. And like I said, check her out. She's great. She's got a lot of awesome stuff, and I cannot wait to share it with you next time we podcast. So that is all for the thank yous. And I want to do something a little bit new because I'm just seeing a lot of really interesting things that most of you probably have heard about, but maybe some of you haven't. And I just want to discuss what's going on in the podcasting community, and specifically in regards to Knitalongs. Now, there's a lot of great knit-alongs going on, and I cannot cover all of them. There's no way. But I want to just talk about the ones that have really, just really caught my interest. And the first one that I want to talk about is Maria's from Stitched in Sweden. And she just talked about this in her last podcast. And she's going to be doing a joint knit-along with a friend for the refugees in her area. And I thought that's really great. So I'm sure there's details in a thread on her Ravelry group if you want to check it out. You know, it's the holiday season. I think it's a great time. You should do this all throughout the year, of course, but it seems during the holiday season, you know, a lot of us are very fortunate and have, we have a lot of us do, you know, and it's always so good to give back. It's such a great feeling. And so the ones that are focused around charity are very near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to highlight that one. And I also want to highlight my own knit-along. So I did this particular knit-along with a different spin this time. The first time I did it was in 2012, and it was called Knit My Mitts. I have one pattern, one. I was not planning on having a pattern. However, let me explain how it happened. So I was at Squam. This would have been my very first Squam art retreat. And I signed up for a class. Was it called How to Knit Fingerless Mitts? And I'm sure just like the instance with the Etsy shop where I misread something, pretty sure I did the same thing with this. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna knit fingerless mitts. I never knit any, and that was a few years ago. I was really excited, thought I'd take a class on it. And I had been out of, hadn't been knitting for a while. So this was, it was a great, I hadn't been knitting for a really long time, so I was kind of relearning a lot of things. And in case you haven't noticed, I talk with my hands. I try not to on this podcast, but my mother's side's Italian. It's what we do. But so I signed up for this class and I go in, and I'm a very, very new knitter. Even though I'd been knitting for a few years, I'd taken too long of a break. And sit down in the class, wonderful teacher, and I come to find out it's a class on how to design and make a pattern for your own fingerless mitts. That was not what I would never have signed up for that class had I known. But it worked out. It worked out very well. So I'm sitting in a class and I'm going to make my own pattern. I knew it had to be simple, and it is. I somehow made a pattern that weekend, and it turned out I get really good feedback on it. It is a simple pattern. It's meant to be a simple pattern, and it's easy to follow. It's free, and I'll show you what they look like. So I'm showing you two different ones. This is the very first one I made, and I don't know what this yarn is. I don't remember. It's been, I think 2012 is when I did these. This one's out of cashmere. So it's just simple stockinette for the body, ribbing at the top, ribbing at the thumb and the wrist. But what I like about these, they fit really well. This will fit your hand like a glove. And there's no looseness in your wrist, because some fingerless mitts that I make, or the way the pattern is, seed stitch cuffs, for example, they don't seem to snug up against my wrist. So I'm really happy with the thumb gusset on these. And yeah, it's a nice pattern. If you need to knit fast Christmas gift, these are great. So I am doing a knit along. It has its own separate group because I created it in 2012, I think, and I just I resurrected the group and put it back out there. But I'll put a link in my Ravelry group as well to where it's at. But it's called Knit My Mitts Knit Along, and it's going to go through January for two reasons. There's going to be a special section to it. If you want to knit these for a charity, that would be great. Knit them, and it doesn't necessarily have to go to the one that I'm going to talk about, but or knit them for Christmas gifts, or knit them for yourself, or for whatever. But I'm doing it through January in case you do want to do that charity portion of it. I know Christmas and knitting at Christmas time can get really, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, and most of us don't knit a lot of extra things at Christmas time. So if I maybe do it through January, that'll give you some extra time. I think I'd end it in the middle of January. The details are definitely in the group. But if you want to give to charity, I work with a homeless ministry at our church, and we talk to the homeless people in St. Louis. We work through another local church in St. Louis who gives food. They provide regular meals for homeless people, and they provide some entertainment and some clothing. It's a very, very, very good program. And the group that I go with, they do it once a month. We don't make it every month, but when we do, we actually walk around the areas on the streets and talk to the people, see what they need, and try to provide it the best we can, because some of them don't go into the church to get what they need. They stay outside. Some of them live in tents, some of them live out in the open, but it's something that I do with my two boys, Kyland and Ashton, who are 9 and 13, and I really like working in that arena. Another thing that I did a few years ago was a medical mission trip to Haiti, and that was right before the earthquake, the big earthquake hit them. And that group goes down there still regularly, and there is an orphanage down there that I work very closely with some people and still participate. And I'm really hoping that my son Kyland and I can travel down there for spring break so that he can visit that area and see what it's like. But this is a long-winded way to say I have a knit-along for my pattern called Knit My Mitts. If you would like to knit some mitts, and send them to me, and I will hand them out to the homeless people in St. Louis, that would be great. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me. It is a really, really cool thing to watch kids and people who live on the streets, how they interact. They bring, my boys bring a lot of joy to those that probably don't see kids too often, and they really enjoy it. So I'm really happy to be a part of it. Like I said, this is just a bonus part to it. You don't have to do that. Any mitts, if you knit fingerless mitts using my pattern and post it in that thread, you will be able to get a prize, or you'll be. Why am I stumbling on this? I don't know. You will have the option at some future, I'm just stopping. There's prizes available for people who participate. The rules are in the group, and if you have any questions, let me know. I do want to say that this knit along with the charity option was inspired by Katrina of the Yarn 30 podcast, and she has the Mighty Knit Along, which she just has it a very loose knit along, and she wants to highlight all the charities that people are using out there. So if you're knitting for any charity, post in that thread, because somebody else may want to knit for that. She just wants to bring attention to all the charities. So she has a thread in there, and she also is the one, I've showed some yarn from her as well, from Cat's Kettle. She makes project bags. She is now dyeing yarn, which I'll show you here some more in a few moments. And yeah, so she's doing some good things over there as well. The next two knit alongs. Okay, so Carlene, Made with Carlenergy podcast, she had a really neat knit along going on, or she does right now, that I don't think I'm going to be able to participate in it, but I really like the idea of it. And it's called the Local Knit Along. And she also has the rules and what that means. It's very, very loose, but she wants people to use yarn or fiber from their area and make something. Now, for instance, she says it's a little loose, like she's using Kristen's from the Yarngasm podcast in Wool and Vineyards. She says that's kind of local to her. They live a bit of a distance apart, but she knows her, she's her friend. She said that's kind of a local to her. But if you have a local farm nearby that you know of that does their own sheep, their own wool, they send it to the local mill. That's kind of where she's going with it too, a local indie dyer. I thought that was really interesting, so you may want to check that out as well. And then the last one, Jenny from the Tiny Paper Foxes, she has a lot of cool things going on over there. You probably know that too, but the two that I'm going to highlight right now, because she has more than two, but I really like the Make Two Along Knitalong. Is it a Knitalong? I don't necessarily think it has to be a Knitalong. I think you can sew as well because she sews. But the idea is that you make two pieces, two garment pieces. It could be a shawl and a hat. Or maybe you sew a skirt and knit a shawl that kind of coordinates. But she has some the rules and guidelines over there and the thought process behind it. You might want to check that out. And then the other thing she has, this is not a knit-along, it's a challenge that I really, really am enjoying. And it's called Sew for 20. So she wants to sew more, but like most of us, there's only so many hours in the day. And so for 2 weeks, she is challenging herself to sew 20 minutes each day. And her hashtag Sew for 20 is on Instagram, and she's going to take a picture, and she has been taking a picture every single night of her sewing as kind of accountability, and has invited anybody who wants to do this with her. Now, I was talking to her. I kind of changed it up a little bit because I'm not going to be sewing right now. I know that. But I just started spinning. So I am doing spin for 20 basically, but I'm still using her hashtag Sew for 20. And I've been sewing 20 minutes a day. So with that, let me show you what I have been spinning. Nothing terribly exciting. It's still my Romney, but I've been sewing at 20 minutes a night, and it's going well. It's going well. A couple thoughts on this. I don't want to spin this anymore. It's not because it's not enjoyable to spin. I'm just kind of done. It's you know, a neutral fiber, and I need to learn how to ply. I don't have the first clue. Some people are giving me some ideas. I need to look that up. But I'm going to take this off, and I think I'm going to practice chain plying. Someone gave me that idea, I think on Instagram, and I thought that's a great idea. And I don't think that I'll use it because, I mean, it's new, but I'm a new spinner, so it's not great. But I don't want to throw it away. I'll either keep it as kind of a souvenir or something, you know, keepsake. That's what Andy said she did from Andre Sue Knits podcast. She said that she kept it as a keepsake to kind of look back. And it's a little cloudy here too, so my lighting's it's probably a little bit more dim than normal, but I'm getting a light. It's coming. I found out what kind of lighting I need. But yeah, and then Mel she's on Ravelry, Woman in a Shoe, and also on Instagram as the Woman in a Shoe. The Woman in a Shoe. She told me she knit a lamb, little toy lamb, with her first hand spun because, you know, it's kind of rough and natural, and it really kind of lent itself to the organic nature of it. I don't even think no, it looked sheepy. And so I looked up her project, and it looked really great. So I may do that. I don't know yet. But I want to take this off and knit with some of my really cool colorful fiber. I want to learn how to chain ply, so I think I'm going to use this for practice maybe. And an idea I have, and I would really like some feedback on this, I will start a thread in the Ravelry group, is I'm thinking about using Periscope to do some spinning, some drop spindling, and use it as a chance to get some feedback from more experienced knitters, or spinners, excuse me, spinners, because I am as new as they come. I don't know anything. So if I'm doing something wrong or I'm doing something right, you know, there's instant feedback on Periscope, and I really like that. I love the interaction I have with viewers right now. I think Periscope would add another layer to that. And this would be, I know a lot of podcasts are about teaching things, and I will definitely have some of those things as well in the future, but I think it would be a tragedy not to use the experience out there. I mean, you guys, there is a wealth of knowledge and experience to everyone in the knitting community, and I would love to learn from you guys. So maybe that's an avenue we can use. We can do a little give and take here. But if you tell me what you think, is that something you'd be interested in? Follow me on Periscope. We'll set up a time. I'll tell you tonight I'm going to spin and just come on, and maybe it'll be something different in the future as well. But I need some feedback, because if I'm going to commit to this and do this one night, I got to make sure that someone's going to be there. So just a thought. All right, we have talked quite a bit, but I have one more thing before we get into whips, FOs, and stash. Let me write that down. I didn't even have stash down. I do have some show notes. So one of the things I was talking about with Jenny this week on Ravelry was, and it was Andy as well, kind of similar conversations, is that, it's really hard sometimes to get in some making, creating, knitting, whatever your craft is during the week. If you're a Monday through Friday person who, works outside of the home, and I don't even want to say that. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you have, children running around, it's hard to get in it. If you're a single person and you have jobs and you have commitments, sometimes it's just hard to get that time in. So I try as much as I can to get it in almost every day. But for me, there's two ways I do that. One means I stay up a little later than normal after the kids go to bed. Or two, one of the things I do is I try to include them. So with that, I am going to tell you a couple of things I've been doing this week to include my kids on creative endeavors, if you will. The first thing is the spinning, the challenge that I'm doing with Jenny's on the Tiny Paper Foxes podcast. So I'm spinning 20 minutes every night, and I need to post a photo to Instagram. Well, clearly I can't spin and take a photo. So I have my boys, ages 9 and 13, each take 3 photos of me every night now. And I tell them I am going to choose the best photo that I like and post it on Instagram. So they're having, a little challenge here. And I'm trying to discuss good aspects of a good shot. And nearly all of that has come from Devin, Jenny's husband. So thank you, Devin. They're kids, so there's well, even for me, there's lots of room for improvement. But we're talking about some of those aspects on what makes a good photo and how I want my spinning to be displayed. So it's clicking because they want to win. They're boys, and just generally speaking, boys tend to be very competitive. But it's kind of neat to see how that goes. They do all kinds of craziness, laying on the floor, trying to be careful. But the other thing is I've got to look for really creative ideas from time to time. So one of them that I just saw this week, and I thought of my youngest son, Ashton. At my work next week, I think they're having a big drive for multiple charities, and they try to raise money. So they are having a paper airplane contest, and excuse me, it's 2 parts that they are going to choose winners on. Which plane flies the furthest and which plane looks the best. So there's 2 aspects to it. My son Ashton loves origami and paper airplanes. I mean, loves them. No one in our family, and I mean no one, can do origami. We are awful. He is the only one that can do it. He often asks me for help, and I'm at a loss. I cannot do it. I just can't. So I am going to I set the challenge before him, told him there's a contest. Here's the 2 aspects. Can you make one? And he has been all over it. He's been on YouTube looking around. He's been making test models and trying them out. And he's come up with one. He's not, I don't think he's 110% satisfied with it, but I think he's pretty satisfied with it. So I'm going to pause right now and bring a special guest on. His name is Ashton, and let him explain a little bit about what he did. It'll be a quick blip. And then after that, I promise you, we will get into some knitting. So, one quick pause. All right, we're back, and this is my special guest, Ashton. Can you say hi, Ashton?
Hello.
All right, so Ashton, welcome to our podcast. And I was just telling everybody how you are helping me out at work. So, what do you got in your hand? Lift it up, let's see.
My new paper airplane that I made.
Paper airplane that you made. Who'd you make that for?
You.
Me? Why'd you make me a paper airplane?
Because you're having a contest at your work. Which paper airplane goes the farthest and which airplane looks the coolest.
That's right. You got it. Okay, so tell me, how many days did it take you to come up with the best paper airplane? Did you do this in one night?
3. No, 3.
3 nights. How many airplanes did you make before this one?
About 5 or 4, maybe.
Okay, all right. And are you happy with this one?
Yes.
Think I'll win?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? How did you come up with this design?
I looked it up on YouTube.
On YouTube? Uh-huh. YouTube, go figure, huh? All right, well, let's see. Is there anything else? Did you have fun doing this?
Yes.
Yes. Did you have any help at all from me on this one?
No.
Nope. This was all you. I cannot wait to show people at work and see how it does. All right. So thank you so much for being on the show. Can you say goodbye?
Goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Ashton. All right. Well, he just left. Just walked off. That's not what I was planning on doing, but it works. I'm going to take a quick pause right here. All right. Let's move on to works in progress. I have 2 works in progress. They are the same ones, unfortunately. So I don't have any FOs this week, and I'm kind of sad about that. I don't know what's been going on lately. It just didn't happen. So I have my Hermione's Everyday Sock. Still on the first one. The heel is done, the cuff is done, and I'm on the body of the foot and the toe that just has to be finished up. And this is on Sundara yarn. I am using, these are 2.75 millimeters DPNs, I believe. Yep, 2.75 millimeters or a US 2. I knit really tight, and I'm still trying to figure out, pretty tight. I'm still trying to figure out my sock recipe and what works best for me, and I don't have that down at all. So I'm really happy with how these are turning out so far, and I really want them finished so I can start wearing them. I have 1 pair of hand knit socks, and I need to get these done. I need to get on it. So there's that. And Hermione's Everyday Sock is a free pattern on Ravelry. That's a well-known pattern. And it is in my cat's kettle bag. Let me put this back in there. Little Japanese knot bag that I really, really like. And has some really pretty inside fabric. I have shown this before, but I just want to show it again. And then my other works in progress, this will not be a shock to you, is my Featherweight Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. And I am doing this as part of Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast, her Knitalong. And it was supposed to be my Rhinebeck sweater that didn't get finished in time. And it is, I can't really stretch it out right now. But all the sleeves are done. All I have to do is the collar. I've already knit a couple of rows of it, but I need to get that done as well. I'm using, let me note a couple things on here. So this is being knit with Malabrigo sock, and the colors are, the blue is Aguas, and the brown, which has a lot of interesting colors going on, and it is Potion, P-O-C-I-O-N, Potion. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, but I really enjoyed knitting with this yarn. It's, I'm really happy with how it's coming out. Picking up for underneath the arms, there was a lot of notes about the sleeves being really tight and people casting on more stitches when picking up for the sleeve to knit from the top down. And yeah, it's a little sketchy underneath the arm, but we'll see how it is in the end. I did do 1x1 ribbing on, I'm doing that for the collar, which is not like that in the pattern, so I don't want mine to roll, and the sleeves. And for my bind off on here, and I really like the bind off I chose, it's an invisible ribbed bind off, and I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I don't know if that's going to show it really, really well or not. I'll do some really good photos for Ravelry. But yeah, that's almost done. And like I said, there's no FOs. Yeah, I really want to cast a bunch of things on, and I am kind of stuck. I know there's some things I have to cast on. So for instance, I wrote a list of all the things I want to knit, and it's obscene, and there's no way it's getting done anytime this year, but there's a few things I do need to get done. For instance, I have to make, well, we're going to talk about that right after this. But I do want to start a Cozy Memories blanket. I love the idea of a blanket using scrap yarn, and I like the idea of swapping minis with people. I am totally jumping on that bandwagon and riding it because it just looks great. Looks like it's a lot of fun. I love the idea of being able to knit a square quickly, having something that you've done that day, and I like the idea of trading yarn with people. I think that's a great way to connect with people and share things and try new yarns you've never used. And I like it. It's a Cozy Memories blanket. Memories, I like that there's memories. I want to put my very first pair of socks I made, I have little bits left from that. It's going directly into the blanket, so I can't wait. And thank you, Jilly, who gave me some great notes. There is a lot of scrap blanket patterns out there, and they're all a little different. I didn't know what the best one was to use, and I asked her because she's doing one, and she gave me some great tips, and I believe she has some tips on her blog as well. So I'm going to be looking those up, and I will link those in the show notes as well. Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick podcast. I want to knit a shawl. I want to get one of those on the needles soon, and I have had a horrible time trying to figure out what shawl I'm going to knit. There's a ton of them. I can't decide. I feel like I'm at the Cheesecake Factory where there's 400 pages of a menu, which just kind of renders me useless. I cannot figure out, I can't narrow it down. But I have narrowed it down finally, but it took a week, which is ridiculous. I shouldn't do that. And now I can't decide on what yarn I want to use with it. So, hopefully just one day I'll wake up and it'll come to me. And things like that do happen to me often. Sometimes I put too much thought into them, and other times I just, no problem whatsoever. I need to get some socks on the needles, not for me, as a gift, and some mitts on the needles. Like this week, those have to get on the needles. And I want some boot cuff toppers, you know, I want a little pair of cabled boot toppers for myself. I wear boots a lot in the winter, and I want some. I'm not gonna buy them. I'm not gonna buy them. I am making them. And I need to start knitting a hat for myself. You see this? And I'm not even done with everything I want to knit. The list just keeps going on and on. But I've got to get something on the needles. I got to figure this out. Do you guys ever have so many things you want to knit that it almost paralyzes you, and you just, I got to get over this. Pick something already, Melissa, right? Okay, let's wrap this up with Christmas knitting. Let's talk about it. because of all my indecision and because of my big grand plans, when I think that I'll finish something, I have all this time to knit 20 projects in 1 month. I do this a lot. I can dream big, but you know, I gotta take a healthy dose of reality and figure this out. My Christmas knitting schedule, did you guys do this yet? Have you got, I mean, maybe you don't knit gifts. Some people say, hey, I'm not knitting gifts. It's too stressful. And I get that. I'm going to be knitting a couple gifts at least. Helen Stewart from the Curious Handmade podcast has a new, I don't know if it's new or not, but it's a holiday gift knitting planner that she gives you for free if you sign up for her newsletter. So I've already got that. I've not downloaded it yet, but I'm really anxious to see what that's like. She does a lot of great things. And she's doing something as well called Knit Vent 2015. And it's a bunch of patterns that she's going to be releasing here soon. I don't know what it's all about, and she's kind of keeping a very close hold to kind of build that excitement. I am curious what it is. She's also starting a hashtag called for Instagram, hashtag knitting wrap up for any of your knitted items for Christmas. You may want to look her up. She's got a lot of really neat things going on for Christmas this year. But I need to get that done. I need my Christmas schedule written out. I know there's 2 things right away that will be on my Christmas list, and that is a pair of socks for my mother-in-law and a pair of my fingerless mitts for my mom. She's requested those. Those are 2 requested items that are going out for Christmas. I have a few other things that I'm thinking of, but as time's closing in, I have to really take a realistic look at this and figure out what I am going to knit for Christmas. But I do know that I want a Christmas tree behind me next podcast. I told you I have this vision on a previous podcast where I have knitted items on my Christmas tree for my art studio. I want one tree that has nothing but little bitty knitted garments, you know, sweaters and mitts and socks. And then I want another tree because that's who I am sometimes. Sometimes, you know, go big or go home, right? I'm gonna have another tree with just the normal stuff, but knitted ornaments as well. And like a knitted ball that has like the Arnie and Carlos 55 balls of Christmas, or I have a snowman that was knit for me that I want to put up. Those kind of things. I want 2. Maybe I'll start with 1 this year and put them all on there because I don't see this being done in 1 year. I want to add to it every year. So yeah, I think I'll start with 1 and it'll just be everything. And then as it grows, I'll split out to 2. But that is all I have for you today. Oh my goodness, no, it's not. I don't believe I did that. Stash, hello. Look at all this. Let's just wrap this up on a great note. Okay. Stash enhancements. I got it. Let's talk about it. Let's start out with my first 2 kits that I bought. This was before Rhinebeck, and I've been getting some more still. So this is the Do Kit by Maria from Stitched in Sweden podcast, and she did this as a collaboration with The Wool Barn. And in it came this gorgeous, gorgeous alpaca sock in natural gray. It's 4-ply sock fingering weight, 70% natural light gray baby alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. There's 400 meters or 436 yards, 100 grams. Oh my gosh, it is so soft. I really want to knit this. I'm holding off only because I think I really need to put something with some color on the needles, but I have color, so I don't know. This might be the next thing that gets knit because I'm really in love with this yarn. In the kit also came a little project notebook because Maria is very organized and she takes notes on all her projects. She's really good about that. And some stitch markers in a little tin. They're really cute. Some with just little crystals on them, and then this cute little guy here. And then, of course, you get the dew shawl pattern that Maria wrote. And there's also jasmine wool wash here, a little sample of it. So maybe that's the next thing I'm gonna knit. But I'm not putting a promise out there on that. I really don't know. And then the next thing I got was from Molly on a homespun house. I got this really cute bag. I saw the bag and I thought, I have to have that. And then she has started dyeing yarn. So it came with a skein of her, let's see here, her Dale fingering, and this is Karma. It is 100% micron merino, 400 meters or 438 yards and 100 grams. So that's really pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. This is going to go in the stash for a while. No clue. And also, she makes beautiful stitch markers, or she has a lot in her shop. And there's a scarecrow and a turkey and some acorns. It's kind of a, just like little autumn, November stitch markers. So there's that. Let's talk about two things here. Let's split this up by dyers and there, hold on. Okay, so I joined my very first club and I chose the Fiberista Sock Club, and they have a couple options you can choose on there. So you can do, they have mood boards and they show you kind of what they're thinking about for that month, but there's the cool colors, there's the warm colors, and there's neutral colors. And after thinking about it, I always thought I was a warm color kind of person, and I do like warm colors. I do want to say that, I do. But I'm realizing more and more that I do cool and neutral colors a lot. So I thought I'm going to stick with what I know and I like, but I did both. So I get two installs, if you will, each month. And the first one, this is my first time ever getting one, it's Canopy by the Fiber Company. And this stuff feels amazing as well. It's 50% baby alpaca, 30% merino, and 20% bamboo. It's 50 grams or 200 yards. So this is the first one, which is like an aqua color. And I like this. Oh, and they put it in 2 skeins so you can make 2 socks. You don't have to, use the same ball. You can do them 2 at a time. I couldn't imagine using these for socks. I mean, I could, but I don't think that's what I'm going to do with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I don't think that I'm going to make socks out of it. Okay, and this is the yarn tragedy. Has this ever happened to you guys? I had this, and what's so crazy is I order a lot of yarn online that comes to my mail box, and they're usually in them soft envelope packages. And I'm very, very careful cutting them. But I had a vision a long time ago, not a vision, but I could just, with all the things that happened to me, I could see myself doing this. And as I was cutting open a package of yarn, I thought, what if you cut the yarn? Well, that day came on my first installment of this very luxurious, yummy yarn from the Fiberista Sock Club. It was all shoved into one thing. I'm not trying to blame them. I'm really not. But yep, look at that. Cut, let's see, 1, 2, there's like 6 little pieces of yarn there that were cut at the top. Oh, I wanted to cry. But this is the next color. Same base, just different color. Please say I'm not the only person who's ever done that. Okay, moving on from tragedy to happy place. Woolen Vine yarns. I ordered some more from her. Her Volca base, and it's one of a kind. Blue like Picasso, 80% merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. 4-ply sock fingering weight, 435 yards and 100 grams. But this looks like this has got some, yeah, this has definitely got speckles in it. And lots of different shades of blues and some purples. Don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Sometimes I just buy yarn, there's no plan for it, but I do want to be more conscious as I go forward here in the next few months of what I'm buying and having a plan for it more. There's some ridiculousness going on over here, a little bit. But the next one is her footsie. It's 80% BFL and 20% nylon in fingering weight, 400 yards and 100 grams. And this is her Sweet Dreams. And this is really pretty. I like this too. Well, of course I like it. Like I'm gonna buy something I don't like. Yeah. So, more pretty yarn, and we're not done. I have another Jinx yarn. I ordered her Glitz Sock Self-Striping in her Christmas lights. 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, 438 yards. And Jinx, this is Laura from Jinx Yarns and the Dyer's Notebook podcast. And I don't know that these will get knit this year, but I'm keeping this for something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's see, hedgehog fibers. I did a lot of hedgehog fibers, and this was all before Rhinebeck. So I have their, I think this is called Teacup, and it is in 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. And like I said this in my last podcast, I really like the white yarns with some speckles in it. I can't wait to knit these up. I think these might just be socks. But this is, I believe, yeah, budgie. That's what I thought. This is 80% BFL and 10% nylon. Like the dude, Carlene from Made with Carlenergy podcast. It's like her bird. And typewriter. This is the color is called typewriter. This is 90% merino, superwash merino, and 10% nylon. And this is just a speckled gray, gray with speckled black, the black speckles in it. And then I have two Monets, which I love when you get, you can see just how different they are, but they're similar, of course. But you know, this is normal with hand-dyed yarns that are, it's just funny how different they can look at times. This is their Monet colorway in, what did I get? What was the base on this one? 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. I think they're both that. Yep, they're both the same. But see how this one has kind of the more blue in this, I guess. Some purples. I saw someone knit something with this one time, and I thought it was gorgeous. And it took me a while to track some out. This has a more light blue and some white, not white, but this is a lighter skein for sure. So you look at them together. There's that. Okay. So, oh, another hedgehog fibers. Dragonfly. My gosh. 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. There's that. And let's see, I got fiber from, this is Shades of Turquoise from Greenwood Fiberworks. I ordered these on Etsy, and it's they're heathered BFL. Ha, look at that. I like that. Different shades of blue, turquoise. I love it. I love it. I cannot wait to spin this up. And I also got some minis. So I ordered some minis from Cat's Kettle. She just started dyeing yarn. Ooh, goodness. Well, she just started selling her yarn. I shouldn't say she just started dyeing. She's been dyeing. But this was her new, she is doing what she's calling color stories. And so when she puts out her yarn, they all coordinate together, and I'm in love with it. You can read more about it in her Ravelry thread, and in her Ravelry group, and she has her inspirations and how she comes up with this. It's really neat. So this is Cranberry Crush. This is Mer Magic. This is Chester Copper Pot, and this is called Stained Glass Shadows. And oh my gosh, I love these. I love these. And she does regular size skeins, but I wanted the mini skeins, and I think I want to put these in my blanket because I am really, I like her. She's a great indie dyer, and I'm really excited about where she can go with this. So keep up the good work, Katrina. I like these a lot. And then I got a gift that I want to show you really quick. from a friend, Melissa. This is part of a Christmas swap that I'm doing. And she put in these cute jars. I love this. I love canning jars. You can use these for anything. I'm not gonna take them out. She doesn't, but they're just some cute minis that she gave me that I thought were fun. Right now I'm keeping them on my nightstand because I just think it's fun to kind of see them in the morning. And I did get a cute little stitch marker from Kat. And I told you this was a disorganized week because I just realized I told you about the Knitalong and that there were gonna be prizes that I have not put up yet, but it's going to be skeins of yarn. And then also the I'm so grateful and thankful giveaway. My goodness, that is on my Ravelry page, and that is going to wrap up here, I think, next week. And that is just my way of saying thank you to you guys. There's not that many people who post in there. That's one of the good things about being a newer podcaster, is that when we do giveaways, your odds of winning a prize are pretty good. And I plan on giving some good yarn, possibly what you're seeing right now in front of you, some of that. But I'm going to give a selection, meaning, you know, there's some colorways I like that you don't like, and vice versa. So I'm going to put some out there and give you a variety to choose from, whoever wins. If there's enough people, we may do 2. I don't know. But post in the Ravelry thread. There is a prompt over there, and yeah, I'm excited to give away some yarn. And I just, once again, say thank you for spending time with me. I want to wrap this up. I thought this was going to be a short episode, and clearly it's not. But thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye.